What's up, everybody? I'm gonna give about a minute, give people some time to get in. I got a nice one for you today. We're gonna talk about past injuries. I got a lot of those, so I'll definitely be able to enlighten you on how to get past these old injuries, things that we may see as something of the past, but realistically they're holding us back to be better in the future, and in the present time, just overall, it's um, it's a hindrance to us, but it's like we don't recognize it. So we're gonna get started. So really, I'm gonna go over my injuries, my old injuries, past injuries, and the reason why I have come to this point, and why it is that I do mobility. Because it's very important for people. Like just earlier today, I had a client tell me, he was like, every time I see you, every time I train with you, you just show me how out of shape I am. And I was just laughing. And what I think about is, would you want someone in your life that's a yes man, just telling you you're always doing good, or would you like somebody that's going to help you grow, point out your flaws, and even though that person may have flaws within themselves, it doesn't, it's not about the messenger, it's about the message. So I mean, obviously, that person too is aiming to elevate themselves in whatever way, shape, and form. They're not just one of those people that are just like, well, look at the message, not the messenger, all the time, knowing that that holds truth, but at the same time, it's like, you know. So I know for me, I was plagued with injuries because I had bad posture and bad form. Now, if I would have understood form and posture, I wouldn't have had these injuries because I would have dove deeper into understanding how to move, what to move, when to move, and things of that nature. I know I began exercising at a very young age, and I never really asked anyone for anything in the essence of like how you do this, that, and blah blah blah. Like in the beginning, I wasn't really asking people. I was just doing what I believe I saw, not realizing that there's little intricate things that we need to be mindful of in order to get yourself, to where you want to be, to elevate in a as fast as you really want to elevate. If you really wanted to elevate physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, as fast as you say you do, then you would be asking people that are in that realm at that level of where you want to be. So I wasn't necessarily asking people, and I had to go through a lot of trial and error, which led to a lot of injuries. Everything from uh, tight hips, because you know how we love to do the whole don't put your knees over your toes thing. So, I mean, that's fine and all until you realize how tight that's going to make your hips. So, I mean, there's ways to do everything, but at the end of the day, there's ways that your body is supposed to move as well, like for the most part, not just like um, train in these realms because your body moves this way. Train in this realm because this is the way your body moves on a regular basis. So you want to always be mindful of the things you're doing regularly. Like for instance, say you're 30 years old, right? And on average, we sit. They say adults sit about 7 hours. So let's just bring it to 8. And let's say we sleep 8 hours. That's 2/3 of your life that you're sedentary. You're basically a pond 2/3 of your life. So you better be a river that other third. A river that flows into an ocean, not a river that flows into a pond. Because it's not that we're getting older. How do I do that? It's not that we're getting older. It's the fact that we're spending more time um, in these positions that are hindering us from, obtaining the heights that we want. So when you were 15, you had only spent a third of that in, say, about like 5 years sitting, maybe. Not even really, because unless your parents just put you in a high chair and they just left you in there. So you weren't necessarily sitting that long. But now, say you hit 30, you hit 40, now you're 40 years old and you then spent a third of that, which is probably like 13 years sitting. You know what I mean? So you can't expect to spend longer and longer times, longer and longer periods sitting, and then expect to move as you did when you were a kid. So a lot of these things we need to double back on, relearn, inform ourselves so we can reform the body, so we can reform the cells within the body. It's not it's not necessarily that hard. It's just it takes consistency, and there's only so many things we be consistent in on a daily basis. You know, and it's what do we choose to be consistent in? There's enough things going on that are hindering us from elevating, what have you. So, there's things like that. So another thing I want to talk about, another one of the injuries, or just going from the ground up, really, between sprained ankles to uh, having Oscar Schlotters in my knees to tight hamstrings, pulling my hamstrings. But every I think when I was from like 15 to 18, I pulled my hamstrings at every football season, and then that's because I had lordosis and I had weak glutes. I wasn't. It's not that I had weak glutes. I wasn't utilizing my glutes, and your glutes are the strongest, or really the biggest muscle. So it should be the strongest muscle that you have. So there was that. So I was having my body work against it itself, you know, and that's not what you want. Just earlier today, I had an individual I was training with, and right below or right above 90 degrees in the squat. Like so, when he was 90 degrees at his knees, but not parallel to the ground, his knees would give out. One of his knees would give out. So what I had him do was I had him walk backwards, and to help build up or promote knee health. A lot of us we don't really walk backwards. We see that as I don't know childish or whatever the case is. You should be walking backwards, forwards, sideways, and whatever other ways you can walk. You should be walking in these ways. I don't know why is it that we feel we should only be walking forward. As you start to get deeper into these things, it kind of makes complete sense because it's like, yeah, if I was doing this forward, why am I not doing that backwards? Or why am I not walking to the left or to the right? So these little things, because he was telling me too, as soon as we started, he was like, wow, I feel a lot better. I was like, yeah, you just needed some resistance and to walk backwards. And then we started doing some knee rotations. And then I had him do the squat again, but I had him go to right above where his leg gives out or where his knee gives out, work in that range first, and then start to gradually get in. He noticed because I had him hold on to something as well, just in case he did fall. So he noticed one, he didn't fall at all, and two, he was able to get into it a lot more fluid and effortless, without pain, of course. That's what it really comes down to. The fact that you can work out without getting to above a level 3 pain. All that no pain, no gain stuff, all those people are injured. I can guarantee you that. Because they know, or at least the people that have went through that and already know that the whole no pain, no gain situation, it'll help you, yes, but at the same time, you're gonna run into a whole bunch of roadblocks when it comes to understanding injuries, rest time, just your ego, a lot of things. You want to kind of let up on that. The hips, that's something that a lot of us, especially men, women too, but usually men have extremely tight hips, and we have emotional trauma stuck in the hips Nobody likes to talk about that either because I don't know. They think that they'll be soft if they talk about their emotions, but it's no, you're not really soft. You need to understand your emotions so that you can't get manipulated and somebody else use you in an emotional or use you through your emotions because you're emotionally unstable. You know. So rather than hide from it, you want to understand it, so you can overstand it, and then nobody can stand on you and manipulate you through your emotions. I mean, it's a daily task. It's not like you just pass a test and then it's over. That's not really the case. But also, aside from the hips, well, along with the hips, really, your hip flexors are something that's usually tight. Um, the piriformis, that's something that needs to be addressed. A lot of people don't really address that, and then they end up getting sciatic pain because that's where your sciatic nerve usually runs through, under, around, whatever the case may be. So be mindful of that. Then there's the spine. You always want to lubricate the spine. I'm always talking about that. You're only as old as your spine, so spine lubrication is of the utmost importance. All right. Uh, I have videos of that throughout my YouTube, and I'm running classes on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 6 p.m. So if you have, if you're interested in that, let me know. Right, comment, DM me, or send a message to my email, which is martinmindset11@gmail.com. If you're on the YouTube. Um, Also, what is it? The scapula. That's something that a lot of people don't really know what it even is. Your shoulder blade. Understanding that, moving it around, doing scapular cars, doing cars in general, which are control articular rotations. That's very important for you. It's very important for anybody, really. And understanding that the difference between active range and passive range is where you can get injured. Meaning, as if my hand goes to here with me lifting it up, and then I can get assistance going to here, this range right here is where I can get injured. And that says a lot, especially for like the shoulders. Say like a grandparent when they go to like throw a ball. So when they get here, at that moment, they realize that they messed up because they haven't been working that in however long it's been. So always understand that the difference between active and passive range is where you can get injured. All right. And then there's also a big one for a lot of people. We don't really work our forearms. We never really went to the gym, and somebody's like, "We're doing forearms today." It kind of doesn't even sound like a complete workout. But forearms, things, the muscles around the elbow, on both sides, or maybe like the bicep. And that's another thing too. We don't really work. You need to work a muscle in a lengthened position as well. You want to strengthen in a lengthened position, not just in a contracted position. So there's things like that as well. We need to be mindful of not just going in the gym and lifting weights the way you see realistically the way you see everyone else lifting is not what you should be doing for the most part, unless you're I don't know, unless this person is a trained professional. I honestly wouldn't just take their advice. I mean, I have a plethora of testimonials, so you can clearly see that I know what I'm talking about. And I went through so many injuries myself. That's what led me to becoming a mobility coach, understanding how to use the body, understanding the way the body moves, and not letting someone manipulate me. Like right now, I'm sitting on top of a what's it called? One of those stability balls. So I'm not just sitting on a chair or some block or whatever the case is, and I'm making sure that my knees are going over my toes as I sit here as well. Because when you do that, it makes you sit up more. As you see, I lean forward. And so if I lean back and my knees are not over my toes, my back will round. As I put my knees over my toes, I'll just sit up more and more effortlessly. I won't have to go out of my way to do that. You know, uh, one of the, I would say, big one of the other big things that I didn't address also with the legs, the tibialis, the shin muscle, um, just doing like I call them shin raises. Uh, they have it in their knees over toes and the knees over toes book as well. You can find it in there. It's a whole step by step process. Uh, so what it is, it's just strengthening that part of the leg so that you know you can stabilize the knee. Imagine you strengthen three different spots in the back, left, and the right, and you never work the front. That's how you get shin splints and things of that nature. And also, there's two calf muscles. So you can do a standing calf raise, or you could do a lunge or seated calf raise. Those are going to work two different calf muscles. So be mindful of that as well. A lot of people just do standing calf raises and just think that that's it. You want to work on being balanced, being well rounded. If you're not balanced or well rounded, then you're going to run into injuries, you're going to run into roadblocks, and then it's going to hinder all of your progress realistically. So that's really what it comes down to. Being well rounded in all aspects, lengthening, strengthening, and just understanding and understanding how the body moves so you don't get manipulated. All right. All right. So yeah, that's it for now. I just wanted to come out here and address a couple things about injuries and just let you guys know that you know we've all been through injuries. It just matters what do you do after you get that injury. Are you going to either walk it off and just let it heal on its own, but then not ever look up anything on how to rehabilitate it? Are you going to go to rehab and do some physical therapy? Um, and then are you going to go to rehab, do physical therapy, and just stop as soon as your sessions are over? Are you going to continue that when you're at home? All these things are very important. So just be mindful of that and look into your old injuries. Look at them, see how they're hindering your body, see if they are at all. I mean, some people really know how to address, uh, everything when it comes to their injuries because they have people around them that understand these types of things. Some of us we don't, and we're just like, oh, whatever. I'm gonna deal with it. So I want to thank you guys. I appreciate it. If you have any comments, concerns, you can either message me either on Instagram or Facebook, or send me an email at martinmindset11@gmail.com. Also, if you're interested in a consultation, go to Forever Fitness. Go to foreverfitnessf2.com and go over to the virtual training. Check me out. Watch some of the videos in there. I'm pretty sure that'll be very helpful to you. You'll gain some knowledge from that. And yeah, we'll be in touch. I appreciate you guys. Until next time. Peace.